You've been taught to seek stillness in places that are ever-changing, taught to find security in outcomes, success in status, and peace in the absence of disruption. But listen, beneath the concrete rhythms of your daily calendar and the digital pulses of your devices, another rhythm beats a more ancient cadence. The principle of rhythm, whispered by Hermetic sages and echoed in the folds of your very breath, reminds you nothing stands still. All things rise, fall, return. Like tides kissing the shore, like moons being born and waning, like joy and sorrow dancing hand in hand. It is a modern illusion that life should unfold in straight lines. Progress, they say, is linear. Love should always feel full. Energy should remain constant. But this is not nature's way. Look closely, and you'll see no tree grows forever upward without shedding its leaves. No river flows without curve. The cosmos itself spirals and spins, not in rows or columns, but in cycles and spirals of return. Thoth, the keeper of wisdom, offered no promises of permanence. Instead, he gave us law. Law not as punishment, but as pattern. The principle of rhythm, found in the Kabbalion states, everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. It is not a poetic metaphor, but a fundamental pattern woven into the very matrix of the material and the mental. And you, with your aching heart and seeking soul, you are not outside this law. You are not separate from the tides of existence. When you feel yourself crumbling after a season of strength, when the light dims after a radiant sunrise, within you are not broken. You are rhythmic. You are obeying the same universal pulse that swings the sun from solstice to solstice. But the modern world tells you to fear the fall, to cling to happiness, to chase only the light. You are told that sadness is weakness, that rest is laziness, that chaos is failure. And so, in trying to hold on to the peak, you resist the descent, and in doing so, you suffer. You break, not because of the fall, but because you were never taught how to fall gracefully. Let us unlearn that fear now. Let us turn inward into the quiet chamber of the heart and feel the rhythm that has always been there. Breathe in, life enters. Breathe out, life departs. The wave crests and falls. Do you judge your exhale as a failure? Do you weep when night blankets the day? No. You understand these as necessary divine, and so too must you learn to honor your own seasons, to trust the downturn as deeply as the rise. Imagine your life as a great ocean. There are days when the waters are placid, glassy with calm. Other times, storms churn your surface and winds pull you far from shore. But beneath it all, deep in the undercurrents, is a knowing, a wisdom older than the stars. It says this too shall pass, and then it shall return, and then it shall pass again. Rhythm does not trap you. It teaches you. It teaches that your sadness is not a flaw, but a counterbalance to joy. That your moments of retreat are as holy as your bursts of creation. That to be alive is not to cling to one note, but to dance among many, each vibrating in its own sacred key. You have not failed when you feel tired. You are simply in the pause before the next rise. You are not lost when things fall apart. You are witnessing the cycle resetting itself, making space for new form. The alchemist does not beg the rhythm to stop. They do not curse the swing of the pendulum. They listen, they wait, they prepare. When the tide recedes, they gather their strength in the exposed stillness. When it returns, they sail forward with intention, always moving, always centered. And so I ask you gently, now, where in your life have you resisted the rhythm? Where have you clung to the crest or feared the fall? Can you let go just a little and trust that even in this moment, whatever it is, you are being carried by something wise and unseen? The principle of rhythm invites you to surrender, not as defeat, but as remembrance. You are not meant to be still. You are meant to be in motion, in harmony and flow. Let this be the beginning of your return to the sacred beat of existence. Let this be the moment you remember that you are not broken, you are becoming. There are movements within you that even your thoughts do not perceive, subtle shifts, invisible tides. Have you felt it? The way your heart sometimes aches for no reason. The way a quiet joy can rise like mist before any visible light touches your day. These are the waves beneath the surface, the rhythm that rides beneath form. And to know it is to begin seeing through the veil of appearance. The Kabbalion teaches us not only rhythm, but polarity, that everything is dual. Everything has its pair of opposites. These opposites are not separate, but the same thing varying in degree. Hot and cold are not different substances. They are temperature on a spectrum. Love and hate are not enemies, but different shades of the same passionate frequency. And so it is with joy and sorrow, hope and despair, action and stillness. These waves are not personal. They are not proof of your goodness or failure. They are universal laws expressing themselves through your unique experience. And yet we take them personally. We say, "I am depressed," when in truth, perhaps we are simply riding the lower arc of a larger cycle. We say, "I have lost my way," when maybe, just maybe, we are being carried through the valley that precedes the next ascent. The ocean does not apologize for its tides. It does not question its own retreat. It understands the wave returns. So, how do we live with this? How do we meet these inner tides without drowning in them? First, by seeing clearly. Imagine again that your mind is an ocean. Your thoughts, emotions, and memories are waves. Most people live on the surface, tossed by every ripple, every storm. One minute elated, the next despairing. But the deeper waters are calm, silent, undisturbed. This is the place of the observer, the part of you that watches without judgment, without attachment. Quantum mystics have long told us that the observer creates reality, that what we observe changes based on how we observe it. The moment you shift from being inside the wave to witnessing the wave, its grip loosens. You become less reactive, more aware. You do not deny the emotion, you honor it, but you no longer mistake it for who you are. This shift is the beginning of alchemy. In ancient Egypt, the priest mystics would observe not only the stars, but the shadows they cast. They knew that light always brings its counterpart, And so they did not curse the darkness. They read it. They listened to it. They interpreted the rhythm. And in doing so, they found wisdom that those obsessed with the light alone could never touch. In your own life, consider a time when something fell apart, an ending, a heartbreak, a loss. In the moment, it felt unbearable. But what came after? Did it not eventually make room for something else? A truth, a realignment, a revelation. Life never subtracts without offering an echo. But the echo may not come in the same form. You must learn to feel for it in new ways. There is a practice I offer now. When you find yourself in a difficult state, fear, anger, confusion, pause. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what is the opposite of this feeling? If you are in fear, perhaps it is peace. If in sorrow, perhaps it is gratitude. Do not try to force yourself into that opposite state. Simply remember that it exists, that it is part of the same continuum, that it is not lost. It is simply waiting its turn. This act of remembering is powerful. It loosens the knot. It breaks the trance of permanence. The wise do not escape the waves. They learn to surf. And surfing is not just balance, it is timing. It is presence. It is knowing when to dive under, when to paddle, when to rise. Do not judge yourself for the rhythm you are in. Do not compare your wave to another's. Each soul has its own dance with time. Each heart, its own frequency. Trust yours. Honor it. Listen. Ask yourself, am I in expansion or contraction right now? Is this my time to bloom or to root, to sing or to rest, to act or to observe? The deeper your awareness of rhythm, the gentler your journey becomes. Not because life stops swinging, but because you stop clinging. You let go. And in letting go, you find grace. You find that every downturn has its lesson, every darkness, its medicine. This is not a passive surrender. It is a conscious one, a fierce willingness to meet life where it is not where you wish it to be. So next time the wave pulls you down, do not panic. Hold your breath. Trust the ocean. Know that it must rise again, and when it does, you will rise with it not as a victim, but as one who has learned to move with the tides of creation itself. There is a place within you that does not rise and fall. A quiet center, unmoved by the pendulum's arc. While your body sways with circumstance and your mind shifts like wind across water, this place remains still, silent, steady. The Kabbalion tells us that rhythm compensates. The greater the swing to the left, the greater the swing to the right. The higher the joy, the deeper the sorrow. The more expansive the light, the more consuming the dark that follows. But what it does not shout, only whispers, is that there is a sanctuary between those swings, a space beyond duality, a throne waiting for the sovereign observer to take their seat. The Hermetic adept does not strive to escape rhythm. They rise above its compulsions. They reach a level of awareness where the pendulum still swings, yes, but it swings beneath them, like the ticking of a distant clock, no longer setting the tempo of their heart. This is the great paradox. The pendulum swings, but you need not swing with it. Can you sense it now? That stillness beneath your thoughts. That presence observing your rising anger, your dissolving fear, your flickers of doubt. That presence is not afraid. It is not disturbed. It is the part of you made in the image of the divine mind that holds all rhythms within itself, yet remains unchanged. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a pendulum. It swings left grief. It swings right joy. Then left again. Then right. If you stare only at the ends of the swing, your life becomes a chase, a tug of war between moments. But if you shift your gaze upward, up the rod of the pendulum, you reach its point of suspension, the point that does not move. That point is your consciousness, your awareness, the I am. To dwell in that point is not to become numb nor indifferent. It is to become masterful. When a storm comes, trees bend and sway, but the mountain remains. The mountain feels the wind, yet does not move with it. Be that mountain. Be the conscious center through which all things pass, but in which nothing sticks unless invited. In daily life, this practice looks simple, yet its power is profound. You feel irritation rising. Someone cuts you off, speaks unkindly, dismisses your worth. Instead of reacting from the surface, you pause. You breathe. You feel the swing, wanting to carry you into anger. But you remember you are not the swing. You are the watcher. You are the one who can respond but does not have to. And in that space, you create choice. You notice yourself sinking into a familiar sadness, the kind that feels endless. You want to reach for distraction, for escape, but something within you remains. It watches. It holds you. And suddenly, the sadness becomes a wave, not an identity. You ride it, feel it, but you do not collapse beneath it. This is not suppression. It is sacred witnessing. The ancient alchemists were not just turning lead into gold. They were transmuting reactive energy into conscious vibration. They were learning to hold pain without being defined by it. They were remembering that the divine spark within them was not subject to time's swings. Can you feel this within yourself? This is where rhythm becomes revelation. You are not meant to eliminate the swing. You are meant to find the axes, to know the dance, but no longer be flung across the room by its every turn. You are meant to rise into awareness so steady that even the most violent waves break gently upon your shore. This inner stillness is not something you must earn. It is already yours. But like a forgotten temple, it must be re-entered. You must remember the way back through breath, through silence, through the sacred choice to witness rather than react. And so, ask yourself, now, when life swings wildly, where do I go within? Do I cling to the edge of the pendulum, screaming through its motion? Or do I close my eyes and remember the point of balance that cannot be moved? This point is not a place of apathy. It is a place of power. For from here, you can see clearly. You can act not from desperation, but from divine alignment. The pendulum will keep swinging. Let it, bless it. It is the rhythm of creation. But you can choose where you stand. You can choose to rise above, to observe, to align. And in that choice, you begin to master rhythm, not by stopping it, but by ceasing to be enslaved by it. In that moment, you are no longer merely human. You become alchemist. You become soul. To the one who has remembered the rhythm, who now sees the pendulum without being ruled by it, a new question arises, not, how do I survive the tides, but how do I dance with them? This is the sacred pivot from resistance to alignment. Alignment is not passive. It is not drifting. It is the active choice to live in harmony with the rhythm rather than in defiance of it. The surfer does not fight the wave. They watch it, wait for it. They learn its tempo, its curl, its whisper. Then, with fierce precision and surrendered grace, they rise upon it, riding what once seemed dangerous into a kind of liberation. This is the invitation of the fourth principle, the law of rhythm, when it is no longer feared, but befriended. You begin to notice patterns, how your energy blooms at certain times and pulls inward at others. You start to anticipate your emotional tides, the arc of your creative seasons. You see how relationships, dreams, even health moves in cyclical waves. You stop trying to force summer during winter. You stop berating yourself for needing rest during the time of inward turning. You listen, you allow, you adjust. And through this surrender comes mastery. The Kabbalion tells us the master of rhythm is the one who polarizes himself at the point where he desires to rest, and then neutralizes the rhythmic swing of the pendulum, which would tend to carry him to the other pole. This is not metaphysical poetry. It is ancient technique. To polarize yourself means to fix your inner frequency, to choose your emotional and mental vibration consciously, so when the world pulls, you do not follow blindly. You center yourself in peace, and the wave passes through you, rather than pulling you with it. You root into faith, and fear has no foothold. You align with joy, and darkness finds no echo chamber to amplify itself within you. This practice is not always easy, but it is always available. Begin by mapping your rhythms. What times of day, month, or year do you feel most energized? When do you feel the need to go inward? What recurring emotional patterns do you notice? Do certain triggers always arrive after moments of expansion, like the backlash of doubt following breakthrough? This is rhythm playing out. Track it, journal it, bless it. Next, cultivate your sacred rituals, practices that bring you back into alignment, breathwork, silence, movement, creative expression, stillness in nature. These are not luxuries. They are the anchor points that keep you from being lost at sea. Think of them as tuning forks. Each time you return to them, you recalibrate your frequency. You remember who you are beyond the swings. And in time, these practices become internalized. The breath itself becomes a reminder. The pause before reaction becomes your teacher. You begin to walk as one who knows the tempo of things. Let's ground this in a life moment. Imagine you're at the edge of burnout. You've been in a season of output, creating, giving, producing. And suddenly, you hit a wall. The body aches. The mind dulls. The spirit dims. The old self would push harder, reach for caffeine, scroll, distract. The aligned self pauses, listens, asks, "What is this downswing asking of me?" The answer might come as a whisper, rest, reflect, retreat. And so you do. You take a day, an hour, even just a deep breath. And in honoring the rhythm, you avoid collapse. You preserve your energy for the next rise. You learn to move with life, not against it. This is spiritual Aikido, using the force of the swing to propel, not pummel. And something miraculous begins to happen. When you align, life aligns with you. Opportunities arrive in flow. Relationships harmonize. Challenges become initiations, not punishments. You begin to feel that you are not living life, it is living through you. This is not superstition, it is coherence. A state where your inner frequency matches the music of the cosmos, and your life becomes a dance rather than a struggle. Ask yourself now, what rhythms have I been denying? Where am I out of sync with my body, my heart, my soul? And what might change if I honored that rhythm instead of resisting it? When you surrender to the tide, you are not giving up. You are giving in to a deeper intelligence. You are becoming part of the cosmic breath. Inhale, action. Exhale, reflection. Inhale, creation. Exhale, integration. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. The mystics have always known the dance of life is not in controlling the steps, but in attuning to the music. Close your eyes. Listen. Can you hear it? That rhythm. It is you. And now you stand at the edge of something vast. You have seen the rhythm. You have felt its swing, its pull, its teachings. You have watched yourself ride its waves and sit still in its center. But one truth remains shining through the veil like morning sun. You are not merely a passenger on this rhythm. You are a creator within it. The principle of rhythm is not a prison. It is a palette, not a sentence, but a symphony. And you, dear soul, are both instrument and conductor. Just as the atom dances in vibration and stars spiral in their harmonic orbit, so too can you, through choice, through awareness, compose the tempo of your own life. We often think of rhythm as something external, circumstance, season, fate, but rhythm is frequency, and frequency responds to intention. The Kabbalion teaches that all is mind, that the universe itself is a mental construct shaped by thought, colored by vibration. So what happens when the mind becomes conscious of its own power? What happens when you not only witness rhythm, but set it? Imagine waking each day and choosing your tone. Before the world offers its noise, before the waves arrive, you close your eyes and set a frequency. Peace, gratitude, joy. You breathe it, feel it. Let it radiate from the core of your being like a tuning fork in divine resonance. And from that frequency, action is born. Not frantic motion, but movement in rhythm. Not reaction, but creation. This is how the masters walk through chaos with calm, how they move through challenge with grace. It is not that the rhythm ceases to exist, but that they are so attuned to their inner music, the outer world cannot shake them. Have you noticed how some people seem to carry a field of steadiness with them? How their presence soothes, inspires, restores balance. This is rhythm in motion. A life not just tossed by waves, but conducted like a sacred symphony. You too can cultivate this. Begin with conscious choice. Not just once, but again and again, until it becomes your rhythm. When you wake, ask, what rhythm do I wish to embody today? Set it like a heartbeat. When life pulls you into old patterns, pause, is this my rhythm, or one I've inherited, absorbed, or assumed? When you feel yourself swinging, ask, what pole am I choosing? What vibration am I feeding? This is not about denial. It is about sovereignty. Even in sadness, you can choose the rhythm of grace. Even in confusion, the rhythm of curiosity. Even in endings, the rhythm of opening. You begin to walk in conscious coherence with the all, and the all begins to echo your frequency in kind. This is the secret of spiritual alchemy, not escaping the human, but transforming it. Not denying the law, but learning to wield it. There will still be down days, still be losses, still be moments when you forget. But now, something has changed. You have seen the structure. You have touched the still point. You have felt the swing and stayed awake. And more than that, you have begun to hum your own melody. The ancients understood this. Their rituals were rhythms. Their chants were frequencies. Their temples were tuned to the stars. They lived by moon cycles and solar arcs. Not out of superstition, but remembrance that to live in rhythm is to live in truth. Today our rhythms are often mechanical. Deadlines, notifications, noise. But beneath them, all the sacred beat remains. A pulse in the earth, a breath in the body, a call in the soul. Can you hear it? It is asking not for perfection, but presence. Not for control, but collaboration. So become the conductor, not rigid, but graceful. Not forceful, but awake. Let your thoughts be notes, your words be chords, your deeds be dances, and let the rhythm of your life become a living prayer. Ask yourself, if I were a song, what would I sound like today? What would I sound like if I were free? The power is already yours. The rhythm is already yours. The law is yours. You are not at the mercy of life's tides. You are the tide. You are the breath. You are the silent stillness and the sacred swing. So rise now, not to resist, but to remember. Create, breathe, dance, and let your very existence become an offering of rhythm to the divine. And so, beloved listener, we return not to an ending, but to a deeper beginning. You have walked the spiral path through the principle of rhythm, through tides and tempests, through stillness and song. You have remembered what so many forget, that you are not simply surviving the currents of life, you are shaping them. That you are not a passive echo of circumstance, but a living, breathing pulse of divine will. This is your invitation to live not in fear of change, but in reverence for it. To move not in panic, but in poetry. To stand not against the tide, but to dance with it graceful, sovereign awake. So as you rise tomorrow, or lay your head to rest tonight, may you remember the rhythm. Feel it in your breath, in your choices, in the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. Let your life become a hymn of conscious creation, an offering to the all. If this reflection stirred something within, share it. Leave a trace. Whisper your thoughts, your awakenings, your questions. Subscribe not just to this channel, but to your own becoming. The rhythm is calling you deeper, and the alchemist within is ready.